In the midst of closing arguments during Prince Harry's trial against the British tabloids, the judge just asked Prince Harry's lawyer, "Show me the evidence." Welcome to Popcorn Planet. I am Andy Signor, and as we reported previously, Prince Harry is suing the British tabloids. I was on his side. I figured they must have so much evidence. But as we began to go through the case and Prince Harry's testimony himself, nothing really came forward, just a lot of speculation and assumptions. And well, David Sherborne, the barrister out there representing Harry, who also represented Johnny Depp, who lost his UK case and shouldn't have, so take that as you will. I don't know if I blame Sherborne as much as obviously the judge itself, who I believe was crooked. But David Sherborne now doesn't have not a greatest track record against the press and defamation, etc. Well, he's in the midst of his closing arguments, and the judge stopped to ask him during the closing arguments, "Show me the evidence." Judge told the Duke of Sussex lawyer, "Show me the evidence," instead of making claims in his lawsuits against the Mirror Group newspapers. Mr. Justice Fancourt, presiding over the course, made the comments while listening to the Duke of Sussex barrister give his closing speech on Wednesday. He told David Sherborne, who represents the Duke, three other high-profile claimants, "Show me the evidence, not just assertions by you of particular examples of voicemail interception in the Duke's case." I mean, this is the whole point of the case. We've been on it for weeks. And the judge now at the end is like, what are your, just give me, he said, give me your two best examples of particular evidence that Prince Harry was able to give of a particular message. So at that point, Mr. Sherborne's got to like, oh, well, yeah, well, it was the witness statement we gave you. You know, when he deals with the articles, he does say on a number of occasions that it was material he was talking about privately. Comes after lawyers from Mirror Group on Tuesday accused the Duke of suing the tabloid as part of a crusade to reform the British media without evidence to support any of his claims. I was rooting for you, Harry. You were the chosen one. Why did you go in and do that? You're going to mess up so many trials. You didn't come prepared. Of course he didn't. This dude doesn't do any work. He just screams victim. And this is going to have massive ramifications. This is tragic, man. Duke suing over unlawful information gathering, including phone hacking. He cited 148 articles he alleged had been obtained illegally, such as by intercepting his voicemails, but doesn't provide a lick of proof or have any way of proving it. During the barrister's closing speech on Wednesday, the judge told him, "This is your opportunity. Give specific examples of voicemail interception leading to articles about the Duke and the Mirror titles." Mr. Sherborne cited the Duke's witness statement in response, saying, "I had in mind the discussion between him and his brother relating to Mr. Burrell. So that's one example. Then we've got Hooray, Harry's dumped. These are just examples." Now, obviously, 20 years later, remembering a specific voicemail is not going to be possible. What all the claimants do is their witness statement explaining how the information is something that they were discussing in voicemails, but not publicly. 2003 People article that Mr. Sherborne references an example of a potential voicemail interception concerns a conversation between Prince Harry and his brother about Paul Burrell, their mother's former butler. The Duke told the court during his cross-examination that a message to his brother in which he described Mr. Burrell as a two-faced S could have been lifted directly from a voicemail I had. Could have, maybe, who knows. He said the articles was the start of a rift between the brothers because the Prince William had wanted to meet Mr. Burrell, whereas Harry thought it was a bad idea. So again, this seems like it would be a good example, right? Only the two people who could have leaked this were Prince Harry and Prince William. But why couldn't Mr. Burrell have leaked some of this stuff? A lot of this stuff was reported before, and this is the only one where it's like maybe, but even then they're like still unsure. We don't know. This is scary because like it's clear during that time period, a lot of these tabloids were doing really unethical methods. And that's the problem here. A lot of other people are suing these tabloids and newspapers because they deservedly were exposed. But Prince Harry came out, blazing, hoping to have all this. And even the judge is like, well, I'm confused. Because clearly they've already gone through this, Paul Burrell, all these examples. And even through all of it, the judge's response is, show me two examples, very clear examples. So they try to say, well, yeah, the Harry's dumped one. The origin of the 2007 Sunday Miracle article, Hooray, Harry's dumped, was also questioned by the Duke while he was in his witness box. He questioned how the newspaper could have known exactly where I was after being photographed going into a nightclub to drown my sorrows. Not entirely sure how anyone would have known we had broken up because, again, we didn't talk about this. Andrew Green, representing Mirror Group, said in response that the News of the World had already run the story and the Sunday Mirror followed up the same night. So here he is like, well, yeah, the Mirror Group stole it from my voicemail. Oh, but wait, News of the World had it before him. So now the reality is News of the World may have been the one who hacked his phone, but then the Mirror Group was just jumping on it, taking those sources. The sad reality is you can't catch this group doing it. And maybe they did, but you got to prove it. Sadly, that's how, the law works. We can't just assume it, Harry, because you think so. In closing submissions, the tabloid group said it was impossible not to have enormous sympathy for the Duke, given the media intrusion that he's been subjected to. However, it said he failed to identify any examples of phone hacking or unlawful information gathering at its newspapers. It accused him of bringing the litigation as a vehicle to seek reform for the British media as part of his ongoing crusade. And yeah, based on everything he's doing, he and Meghan, he is trying to just control the press so they can get whatever they want. Their version of the narratives, their version of the press. I'm seeing it more and more now that I finally turned the tide and reported on all this. And I've dug deeper. MGN's submission on Tuesday, the Duke's claim that he'd failed to withstand scrutiny. Mr. Justice told the Duke's barrister to draw out particular examples if you have them. Mr. Sherborne replied, if this is something that your lordship is particularly interested in us highlighting, then I will do so. With respect, it is not correct to say I have not highlighted this. Well, basically, the judge is like, I don't see it. You need to really be clearer for me. And they're like, well, we did in this big, long document that doesn't prove anything. Yeah. The examples are in the witness statement and the article analysis. Dude, clearly the judge isn't seeing it. He's basically warning you, I don't see it. Give me very clear examples. And they're like, well, yeah, we did. They're here. Yeah, he looked at those. He clearly still doesn't see it, dude. And you're just gonna be like, yeah, no, read the thing that you clearly don't get. Just read it. I already put it in there. Can you imagine? It's like, dude, he wants another paper. He wants you to make a clearer paper because he thinks the first paper wasn't clear enough. Don't be lazy now and say, well, we already gave it to you. He clearly didn't read the paper, doesn't want to read the paper, or doesn't believe the paper. I mean, come on. Man, is anyone else, how are you not reading through between the lines here? Duke's barrister has maintained that there was hard evidence that the unlawful information gathering was widespread, but you didn't prove it here. In closing submissions, he drew attention to the existence of the Duke's mobile phone on a device belonging to a previous head of news at the Mirror Group as a very significant feature in the case. None of this proves it. Now, again, I understand why they think it, but none of it proves it. And to show the writing on the wall, the judge has already deemed that Pierce and others didn't even have to go. So Harry's team's like, well, this is fatal for them. They didn't even come to defend themselves. No, they didn't show up because they don't have to. Because the judge said it would be a waste of time. They're just going to deny it. It's not their job to prove they're guilty. It's your job to prove they're guilty, is the reality. And sure, they could go up on stand, just lie. I'm going to lie, I'm going to lie, I'm going to lie. No, I didn't do that. No, we didn't do that. No, I didn't do that. So it does sort of prove more. It is strange to me they weren't allowed to force him to come up and have to lie or tell the truth or answer because, how he answers would have been something that would have been, I think, useful to take. But that's where this case is netted. And so none of the people were called, including Pierce. And so Harry's team has tried to make it as, this is a fatal blow to their case. They didn't even show up. Pierce didn't show up. Mr. Poring is a high-profile individual, and the allegations against him have generated a lot of publicity. MGM's statement, however, is not necessary for the allegations against him to be determined. And if, which is denied, it is necessary that those matters are perfectly capable of resolution in the documentary evidence. He should have shown up. Shouldn't have just made comments later. He should have showed up. But there you go. And he would not take lectures on privacy invasion from Prince Harry, is what Morgan has also said publicly. This is just wild to see that the judge is asking for more evidence or very clearly saying, your evidence isn't clear enough to me. Show me more specific. Highlight 2 examples and show it to me. Prove it to me. Which ones are you saying are definitively proof? And his response is, well, we already put it in the paper. Read the paper. This is not a good look, guys. This is not a good look for Prince Harry. This is not a good sign. We'll keep you updated on the outcome of this verdict and what happens here. But this was supposed to be the slam dunk of Harry slaying the media, and I think it's going to come in against him. That's what I'm thinking. What do you think? If you want to get the updates to this and so much more, make sure you've joined our Popcorn Planet Core. Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell, and smash that thumbs up. And I know some of you are like, Andy, enough with Meghan and Harry. I'm sorry. They got a lot of interesting stuff. I'm going to keep covering it, but we will start putting some other stories in. So I hope you'll stay tuned and click on those as well. And when we go live, we talk about a lot of other stuff. So I hope to see you here live Thursdays and Tuesdays around 3 p.m. Eastern here on Popcorn Planet. Thank you guys so much for watching. We got more content for you coming soon.